Good evening. Welcome to the Lompoc City Council meeting. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Holmdahl?
Here.
Councilmember Starbuck?
Present.
Councilmember Lingle? Mayor Pro Tem Ashley Costa? Mayor John Lynn?
Here. And for the record, Councilmember Lingle is at an NCPA function for the city, and Councilmember Starbuck is at a League of Cities function for the city.
No, he's sitting here.
Oh, sorry. Boy, there's the good one, Councilmember Costa.
That's the one with the long hair.
Yeah. Well, you know, she got it cut shorter, so I'm having trouble now. Oh, wait, you got yours shorter too. Okay. And this evening our invocation will be by Leo Baldwin. Come on down, Leo. If you'd all please arise.
This is a prayer for all mankind. O thou kind Lord, thou hast created all humanity from the same stock. Thou hast decreed that all shall belong to the same household. In thy holy presence they are all thy servants, and all mankind are sheltered beneath thy tabernacle. All have gathered together thy table of bounty, at thy table of bounty. All are illumined through the light of thy providence. O God, thou art kind to all. Thou hast provided for all. Thou dost shelter all. Confer us life upon all. Thou hast endowed each and all with talents and faculties, and all are submerged in the ocean of thy mercy. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree, and make the nations one, so that they may say to each other as one family, and the whole earth as one home. May they all live together in perfect harmony. O God, raise aloft the banner of the oneness of mankind. O God, establish the most great peace. Thank you.
You join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next, first I need to announce that I made a presentation yesterday at the Carousel of Cultures at the Veterans Memorial Building in honor of that event put on by Club Arcturus for 28 consecutive years. And a good time was had by all, celebrating our diversity as individuals and our oneness as residents of the Lompoc Valley. So once a year, it's important to take a moment and look at what we've accomplished and then look forward and see where we're going to go. So this evening, I'm going to give you a trip back and a look forward. So this is our State of the City. Good evening. In 2011, the Lompoc City Council and city staff began our journey of reinventing the city of Lompoc. Many questioned whether we were dedicated to those changes and if a customer service-oriented, business-friendly city that we created could stand the test of time. With the Charter of Excellence developed by all the city staff to bring customer service decision-making to the front counter, we have stood the test of time and we have excelled. In 2012, we stayed the course we had set and began to see results for our number one goal, economic development that creates jobs. In 2012, we saw the opening of Marshall's and Grocery Outlet, and we also began conversations with prospects that were to come to Lompoc in 2013. Economic development is truly a multi-year undertaking. As 2012 came to a close, our reputation as a business-friendly city was secure, and we had amazing letters of reference from those that had completed projects in Lompoc. My personal favorite is from Black Tide Development, and I quote, "I have been involved in over 400 retail projects in multiple states, and never have I received from a city or other government entity both the support and active participation in processing a project as I received from you, the mayor, and the city of Lompoc. What a recommendation that is for our success. In 2013, the changes of 2011 and the dedication to our goal of economic development and jobs in 2012 created amazing results. Lompoc was firmly established in the minds of businesses and developers as a business-friendly city that can take substantial projects from the entitlement application through new construction and open for business in less than a year. Projects that repurposed existing buildings were entitled and permitted in 60 days and built out as quickly as contractors could get the work done. Both our building department and fire department speed construction projects by facilitating, not complicating the projects. 2013 saw a record number of new large store openings, which expanded shopping choices with Dollar General on West Ocean, Fala's department store on North H Street, Applebee's on West Central, Papa John's on North H Street, as well as many other small stores. Chrysler Corporation moved forward with a new dealership in Lompoc. From the initial application for entitlement on a vacant lot through the permitting and construction, only 10 months elapsed. While Chrysler struggled to move projects forward across California, from the first day Fred Sherwood, the Chrysler representative, spoke to me until the day that they opened their doors was exactly 1 year and 6 days. That was made possible by the focus of this council and the hard work of our city staff. Because of these projects and many others, building permits for 2013 in Lompoc totaled over $39 million, up from the low of $11 million in 2009. Our wine tourism industry continued to expand with the opening of 5 new tasting rooms and 4 new wineries in the wine ghetto and around Lompoc. Also, to increase local tourism and fill our hotels and motels, the Lompoc Tourism Improvement District was approved by this council. The district will collect over $250,000 through a 2% tax on room stays in 2014 to advertise Lompoc as a tourism destination on the Central Coast. Although agriculture has been a big part of Lompoc, 2013 marked the first agricultural processing facility in Lompoc with the opening of the cooler project by Campbell Ranches. This modern cooler will reduce costs to local farmers by eliminating the need to move produce to Santa Maria for cooling. This project was begun under a very aggressive time schedule to meet the 2013 harvest needs and completed on time through close cooperation between the City of Lompoc, the Lompoc Fire Department, Campbell Ranches, and the building contractor. Because this type of facility is new to our community, everyone worked together to understand the challenges of construction and facilitate its completion. The Lompoc Healthcare District began the $17 million reconstruction of the old Lompoc Hospital into the Champion Center, a PTSD treatment center for police, fire, and military personnel. It will be completed in 2014 and will add about 100 new jobs. In December, the Healthcare District also broke ground on the new state-of-the-art oncology center that will allow cancer patients to avoid the travel out of town and receive their treatment here in Lompoc. The largest new employer in 2013, Denmat, moved their world headquarters to Lompoc, bringing 400 existing jobs to an 85,000 square foot building, which had previously had only 17 jobs with the prior tenant. Denmat continues to hire locally for their expanded workforce and is actively negotiating to purchase other companies in the dental products field and bring them to Lompoc. In December, plans were submitted and a press conference was held for a 40-acre industrial park at Central and B Streets. Discussions began with the owner-developer in the summer of 2012, when, because of our economic development efforts, almost all of the available industrial buildings in Lompoc had been filled. Sports facilities and the resulting sports tourism also saw many changes in 2013. Using impact fees, a timer system was installed at the competition pool at the Aquatic Center to host swim meets. Using assorted funds, gopher wire and new turf was installed in the Little League fields to improve the fields and host tournaments, which it already has. The BMX Bicycle Skills Park, which is fully funded by local donations, neared design completion, and local contractors have donated and delivered almost all of the dirt needed from the many construction projects in Lompoc. The Motorsports Park at the Lompoc Airport received an almost $1 million grant for construction of the motocross track, and the Parks Foundation continues to fundraise for the 1/8 mile drag strip. The airport also saw another year of expanded use by Skydive Santa Barbara and the signing of a lease and delivering of building materials for a new 4,000 square foot hangar that will house a pilot training school and aerobatic flight training. Lompoc also welcomed its first bicycle criterium in 2013. A criterium is a very fast bicycle street race for different ages and skill levels, which brings riders from all over California to earn competitive points. The 2014 criterium will be even bigger. The city staff and council also finalized issues that hung over the owners of more than 250 properties as the result of inconsistencies created in 1997 when the general plan update was begun. The council returned the value of those properties to the owners by eliminating the downzoning in the 1997 general plan and approving a staff-created overlay. The overlay zone allows properties which had legally built densities when they were built but were long ago rezoned to be designated as legal non-conforming uses. This has lifted a legal cloud from many properties on the south side of Lompoc that's been in place for years. During 2013, the council also reviewed and voted on more than 100 significant items. Some of those most significant ones are the SAFER federal grant applied for by the fire department, which was awarded to Lompoc and funded 3 firefighters for 2 years and 3 firefighters for 3 years. Also, the fire department recommended and the council approved the purchase of a new brush fire engine, which will be used to respond to regional fires. Our old brush engine will be retained as a reserve engine to be available when the new one is out of town. The council reviewed several locations for the long-delayed transit center and settled on a compact design along the 200 block of West Cypress in downtown. The savings from this project allowed the purchase of the former Moormill Lumber location to construct a new transit garage and bus storage. It will replace the 1970s facility at the city yard, which we outgrew long ago. The 2013-15 balanced budget was created by the council and the staff and approved without using any reserves. Staff and the council continued to work on the wind down of the Lompoc Redevelopment Agency, including spending recreational bond proceeds and working to clear the legal issues so work can begin on refurbishing the Lompoc Theater downtown. The Lompoc Theater Group has been formed as a nonprofit to refurbish the theater and open it as a multi-use venue for local entertainment. I would add they are looking for more volunteers, so if you're interested, give them a call. The use of safe and sane fireworks was approved by the City Council and implemented by the Fire Department. The first year, no fires or injuries were reported, and lessons were learned to improve enforcement efforts for 2014 to reduce the use of illegal fireworks. The issue of water and wastewater rates was reviewed, and a 5-year rate structure was selected, which must be reviewed by the council each year to be implemented. The wastewater rate increases were caused by the state-mandated replacement of our wastewater treatment plant. The water rate increases were largely caused by our successful water conservation program, which reduced consumption by 30% over 15 years. The lack of new homes and commercial construction for 5 years during the economic downturn made this problem even worse. Ordinances were passed to allow cottage food businesses and homes, support city workers on military reserve duty, build safer routes to school, amend commercial parking requirements to match today's needs, adopt a groundwater management plan, adopt the Charlotte's Web bookmobile concept, ban the possession of spice and bath salt hallucinogens, and ban aggressive panhandling along with a panhandling education program for the public. We continue to have a very safe community because of all of our efforts to stop crime, that would be all of us working together, and the great work of the Lompoc Police Department. Our gang problem is dramatically less than nearby communities, but we must never stop working to save as many young men and women as possible from the dead-end life of gangs. If you see someone who's stepping into a gang, help them step out. On the financial side, the city continued to improve in small steps with a settlement returning overcharges by Santa Barbara County and 3 more quarters of sales tax increases. Thanks to the efforts of Lompoc residents to shop locally in the expanded shopping choices, Lompoc has had sales tax increases every quarter since the second quarter of 2011. A truly amazing record. Thank you all. In 2013, our successes were made possible by the work done in 2011 and 2012. In 2014, we expect to see more projects. Now, the good news for 2014 that we already know about. On January 1st, the Allen Hancock Public Safety Training Facility opened, and within 2 weeks, the first Police Academy and Fire Academy classes began. On January 13th, Hancock signed the formal agreement with the Petroleum Education Council Safety Training Program to bring thousands of oil industry workers to Hancock for training in 2014. The first of these 3 oil industry training programs will begin in February, and with the other 2 to follow. The Hancock facility will also offer recertification classes for police, fire, jail, and ambulance personnel from all over California. The Hancock facility is a state-of-the-art facility in the western United States, and the only one of its kind where all emergency responders can train together just as they work together on the streets of communities across California. In 2014, Vandenberg Air Force Base will have 12 launches, which is a level not seen in many years. These launches will fill local hotels and restaurants for weeks at a time. With 23 wineries and tasting rooms, Lompoc has now reached critical mass to become a wine tasting destination. The Lompoc Tourism Improvement District will be focused on the wine tourism segment, as well as the Hancock Public Safety and Oil Industry Training Facilities. An agreement has been signed to bring a new brewery and brew pub to a long vacant 9,000 square foot Lompoc building. One other vacant restaurant building is in escrow, and another restaurant is in negotiations for a location. The city is currently reviewing projects to provide locals and visitors with better sports and community facilities using the over $600,000 in recreation bond money still on hand. In the summer of 2014, the 2-acre 4-track BMX bicycle skills park should be completed. And upon the completion of the environmental review, the motocross tracks can also be built in a short time frame. These 2 projects will provide recreation options for locals and bring riders from across California for these state-of-the-art facilities. The plans for the 40-acre industrial park at Central and V Street have been submitted, and because of the new traffic study and software in our recently approved general plan, this industrial park could receive land use entitlements in as little as 8 months. As with other recent projects, building designs could occur concurrently with the land use entitlement. A number of other projects are underway now in study, but unfortunately we're not able to announce them tonight. We look forward to that in the near future. The Planning Commission and the City Council will also take up and complete the Phase 2 sections of the General Plan update begun in 1997. The General Plan will guide Lompoc from now until 2030. Through the efforts of the Lompoc Fire Foundation and the generosity of the Santa Barbara Foundation, a grant was received by the Fire Foundation to convert an existing fire department vehicle into a medical squad. This truck is fully equipped to respond to medical emergencies and will increase our number of response units for medical calls from 2 to 3. During the day, it will be positioned in Midtown to reduce call time, and because it is more nimble than a fire truck, arrive a bit more quickly. The squad truck is currently being outfitted by fire department staff and will be deployed later this month. In summation, in December of 2012, the Council established a list of 135 projects to be completed in 2013-14. The Council agreed in the first half of 2013 the two-year budget would be our primary focus rather than the project list. In the second half of 2013, with the retirement of our city administrator, the ongoing successful of the management of the city with a short staff was our primary goal. Today, with all the competing priorities, 30 projects on the list have already been completed or underway. In 2014, we will move forward with the Council projects list for improving the city. On January 6th, Lompoc welcomed Patrick Wumeyer as our new city administrator. Patrick brings many years of city and private sector experience to the job of city administrator. Patrick was previously the Public Works Director and Utility Director for the City of Fresno with a population over 500,000. In that position, he supervised 887 employees and managed a budget of $574 million. Patrick was selected from an outstanding field of candidates by the Council because of the strengths he brought, which complemented the strengths of our city staff. With Patrick's broad experience from other cities and agencies, we look forward to many improvements in the operations of the City of Lompoc. Today, Lompoc is the most customer service focused and business friendly city in the Tri-Counties. Building on our past successes in 2011, 2012, and 2013, we will bring more jobs to Lompoc for our unemployed and for the over 6,000 Lompoc workers that must travel out of town each day to work. These traveling workers are a great strength for Lompoc in attracting new businesses and new jobs. We are truly blessed to live in our clean, green, graffiti-free valley with a diverse population who constantly volunteer their time and money to improve Lompoc. And I know there will be more good news for Lompoc in 2014 and beyond. Thank you. No rotten eggs, no tomatoes, life is good. And I hope you're all better informed now. Okay, City Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to hear about all the great things going on in Lompoc. And it's been a tremendous start for me. It definitely hit the ground running. I've spent a lot of my last couple weeks just trying to make contact, trying to both within the city organization and within the community, both meeting with staff and starting some tours of facilities and just understanding procedures and operations as we have them. Starting to get our hands on a few different projects and also, as I'd said, a lot of outreach into the community. I was able to drop in on a number of our commissions, stopping in and spending a brief amount of time with folks in the Planning Commission, Parks and Rec Commission, Human Services Commission, Economic Development Committee, the Utility Commission, and the Airport Commission. I've been able to be on a tour of our recreation centers and our parks and with our corporate yard. And been out to Vandenberg Air Force Base a couple times to meet with command staff there and hopes of doing some coordinating activities with the base that have some potential to benefit both the base and the city. Been meeting with our labor organization leadership. I've met with the POA and with the fire leadership. I was to meet today with the IBEW. I'm going to publicly apologize to them for my failure to make that meeting, but we'll have a make-up meeting shortly. I've had one-on-ones with all 7 of our department heads, and those were good times for me to get a better understanding of departmental priorities and also how I might be able to help to support them in their endeavors. And it's the sort of busy week it's been. I'd like to take this opportunity too, if I could invite up Joanne Plummer from our recreation manager, and she's got an exciting little event to talk about tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, council and members of the audience and at home. Tonight we have a drawing. We're going to ask the mayor to come down and help us out. As you know, the Lompoc Recreation Division does the annual father-daughter dance. It's a very popular dance. We actually have the event on 2 different nights where we'll have about 150 ladies each night and their special date, their dad and uncle, whatever man is in their life, come to the Anderson Recreation Center and spend a night laughing and dancing and playing games and, of course, eating some great snacks and cookies and so forth. But for a special reward for those people that registered early this year, one of our team members, Kathy Hefferman, secured a ride from Lee Solis in his antique car to and from the dance for the person that the mayor is going to pick out of our Valentine's Bowl. So if you're in this drawing, if you're registered today or last week and you're already registered for the event, your name is in this drawing. And if the mayor picks your name, you're going to be the lucky lady to ride to and from the dance in style. Oh, this isn't fair. You're tall.
Yeah, let's go to the bottom, get one out of the bottom. We don't want to make it too easy.
Oh, I have to read it?
Yeah, I'm just the hand.
Sabrina Sanchez is our lucky winner. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And she'll be arriving to and from the dance this year in style. Thank you to Lee Solis as well. And thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Appreciate that, and congratulations out there. One final thing to report on, just to give the community a heads up. We had a scam we experienced over the last couple of weeks where some scam artists were identifying themselves as being City of Lompoc utility staff, I guess, and the scam seemed to involve calling up people, telling them they're imminently going to have their utilities services shut off unless they made a payment immediately. And these were aggressive people over the phone asking for credit card numbers and the like. Just want to give the assurance that's not our collection method, and you should be very wary of people calling up and using those sort of aggressive tactics and seeking to get personal information about your credit card or how you might bring cash to our location that is not having anything to do with city facilities. So just want to give the community a heads up on that and to be aware and just exercise good judgment in those situations. And that's going to conclude my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, you got anything to say on about that? Did you catch anybody? Chief Ralston, did you catch anybody?
I'm sorry, I was speaking to...
On the utility scam, did you have any luck catching anybody?
No, we haven't caught anybody on that, but earlier today we did capture a young person who was responsible for graffiti in several locations in the city, and 8 was the last count, 8 locations. He was in custody as of this morning.
Good things. We're still clean, green, and graffiti free. Yes. Councilmember Starbuck wants to know if he's going to be put to work painting out graffiti. Okay, any staff requests or announcements? Nope, okie doke. Oral communications. This is your opportunity to talk to us for 5 minutes about anything. Who wants to talk? Don't everybody run up at once. Going once? Going twice? Gone. Okay, we'll now move to the consent calendar, and on that we have item 1, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of January 7th, approval of expenditures, voucher register for $650,000, voucher register for $69,000, utility credit refunds for $605. I will not participate in the vote on check number 317476 for $606.50 to Smitty's Towing because I have a conflict of interest. Number 3, adoption of ordinance 159914, adding sections 3.32.080 and 3.30.090 to the Lompoc Municipal Code, establishing authority of the city to collect certain fire service fees. And number 4, a lease agreement for the River's Edge Pet Lodge. Is there an item on there a council member would like to pull?
Mr. Mayor,
Sir.
I can't vote on number 1. I wasn't here.
Actually, you can. You're just noting that the minutes reflect you're not here.
Okay, as long as
Good
they
thing.
do that. We got this. I wanted to
Okay.
make sure.
Yeah. What about that one? The check for $606.50?
We'll have to bring that back.
Okay. All right. So what I would accept is a motion for the consent calendar excluding check number 317476.
Also move.
Second.
Okay. And any discussion? And could we vote, please? And that passes 3-0 and 2 absent. Item number 5, the San Ynez River Bank Stabilization Project Grant Application Update. Craig? And I see you brought your cheering. Where'd they go?
Bedtime now.
Oh, man. I should have put you on first. You okay? Okay.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Craig Deerling, and this is an update on the San Ynez Riverbank Stabilization Project grant application effort, and it's both an update and a request for direction related to one of our most promising grants. The purpose of this project is to stabilize the eroding riverbank in order to promote public safety and protect resources at 2 locations. One location is north of Barton Avenue on the western bank of the river, and the other is between Pine Avenue and North Avenue, also on the western bank of the river. So here's a visual of those. Riverbend Park is up there. Central Avenue is the northernmost large east-west street. Northern location here just north of Barton Avenue, and southern location here between Pine and North. Past council direction includes a February 1st, 2011 update and direction for staff to pursue grant funding to implement reinforced vegetative bank protection systems at both project locations. In September 2011, the council authorized submittal of grant applications to 2 programs, and then in June 2012, the council authorized submittal of a grant application to the Federal Emergency Management Agency Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. To clarify for newcomers and remind everyone from 3 years ago what an RVPP system is, this is an example in Buellton that was installed around 10 years ago. The pre-project condition looks a lot like our northern location. Immediately after construction, you can see the piles in rows. They have cables strung between them that you can't see very well. And you also can't see very well the planting between. But the way the system works is river flows come through and debris catches on the piles and the cables and slows the flow along the eroding bank. And because the flow is slowed down, instead of eroding the bank, It actually deposits sediment and rebuilds the bank so that after the system has been in place, the area can be restored like this June 2010 photo. So the primary obstacle to this project is funding. And we've been searching grant opportunities as summarized here. Since 2011, the staff has researched over 20 grant programs that appear to be potential funding candidates for this project. After significant review, the project appears to be eligible for only 8 of those programs, but only 3 of the 8 could have capacity to fund up to 75% of the project. Those 3 are the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program that we're talking more about tonight, the FEMA Pre-Disaster Mitigation Grant Program, and the California River Parkways Grant Program. Another 3 programs for which the project appears to be eligible have or had sufficient capacity to fund up to 25% of projects of this size. Those are the Santa Barbara County Coastal Resources Enhancement Fund, CREF, the California Urban Streams Restoration Grant, and the California Urban Greening Grant Program. And to give an update on our progress of applications, item number 1, the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. FEMA has expressed interest in funding up to 75% of our southern location only, but states they will not fund the northern project location. Santa Barbara County's Coastal Resource Enhancement Fund, that application is currently being reviewed and in the very near term will be heard at Board of Supervisors meetings on February 18th and March 4th. The California River Parkways Grant Program, the city applied and our project was not selected in the 2012 award cycle, and the program now appears to be ended. It was a Prop 84 program, and many of those programs are coming to the end of their funding. Number 4, the FEMA Pre-Disaster Mitigation Grant Program. The city's project is not eligible since it's already being processed for the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, and they don't allow you to run for 2 programs at the same time. California Urban Greening Grant Program. City's project was not selected in the 2013 award cycle. So to give another view of the slide just before this with an update, the only one left with 75% funding capacity is this FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, but they say they'll only fund the southern location. And of the 25% options, we're awaiting a decision on the CREF program, and we're awaiting a call for projects on this California Urban Greening, or Urban Streams, Restoration Grant. To get into more detail on FEMA's position, FEMA stated in their denial letter to the city, since no permanent structures are allowed at the River Bend location, the proposed activity does not address a problem that poses a significant risk to public health and safety and is therefore not eligible. Unless the River Bend location is omitted from the scope of work, this sub-application is not eligible for FEMA funding and the sub-application is denied. And to explain the relationship between FEMA and Cal OES, Cal OES is the city's interface with FEMA, essentially. So we submit our applications to Cal OES. We're considered the sub-applicant, so that's why the FEMA statement talks about the sub-application. Cal OES is considered the applicant, and they're the ones that talk directly with FEMA. Cal OES also supports or doesn't support whatever we send to FEMA. So they made a statement down here on the bottom this fall saying, we determined that there has been no recurring damage or problem at the River Bend location, which is our northern location, other than natural erosion within the designated floodplain, and that there is no imminent or significant possibility of risk to public health or safety. So both agencies are stating fairly firm positions. To show you what the northern location looks like, this picture is a few years old, but it looks fairly similar now. This is looking north, a little ways north of Barton Avenue. You can see the highlands up on the hill, and we're basically looking toward Riverbend Park, but we're several thousand feet south of it. And you can see the rivers gouging out against this western bank. And oops, an aerial view of that area. So we were just standing about right here where the dot is, looking north at this gouged out area. Our consulting team that did our conceptual analysis and design projected that after many years, the erosion would continue on a path something like this and head through the bike path and the park. So it's trending in this mostly north and slightly west direction. So the better news is that FEMA and CalEMA are interested in funding the southern location. FEMA stated in their denial letter, due to the proximity of 8 homes, the proposed activity at the Riverside location does address a threat to public safety and remains cost beneficial utilizing the most conservative figures. If the sub-applicant wishes to reduce the scope of work to only the Riverside site, this sub-application may be reconsidered. Cal OES also told the city they would likely support the project if the scope of work was reduced to only the southern Riverside location. So here's an aerial of the southern location, North Avenue up top, Pine Avenue at the bottom, and you can see the river lately has been flowing against the western bank, and that's not far off of Riverside Drive here. Riverside Drive doesn't have a label on it, but there's a small open space buffer between the top of the bank and Riverside Drive. Some photos of that area. This is standing at the top of bank looking south. As you can see, it's a fairly tall, 30 feet or so tall bank that's very steep from the top of bank down to the toe. Here's a view from in the riverbed looking at the bank. You can see the upper bank is nearly vertical in a good part of that stretch, and the toe of the bank continually gets scoured by river flows so that the toe goes away and the upper part falls down. And here's a shot at kind of the narrowest stretch of this open space buffer. This photo is where the open space buffer is maybe 42 to 44 feet wide. It widens out to 70 or so feet as you get north toward Cherry Oak Alley, but it generally is a fairly narrow buffer considering the height of the slope and its eroded condition. So in conclusion, the city must respond to Cal OES related to this FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program before January 27, 2014, which is Monday, with either a decision to reduce the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program application to only include the southern Riverside location, or a final appeal to FEMA's determination of project ineligibility, which would be retaining both locations, continuing to press forward. FEMA and Cal OES have communicated the project will not be funded by the HMGP unless the application is reduced to include only the southern location. Staff therefore believes reducing the application to only include the southern location is in the city's best interest. Are there any questions?
Craig, we've heard this before. Wasn't there also a portion of the very southernmost area almost down to Grefco where part of the post and cable system had been taken away?
Well, actually in this Pine to North Avenue section, there is 700 feet or so of remaining old pile and cable system that's along the toe of riverbank and undersized, so not designed to last as long as the proposed system is. So 700 feet of that's remaining. It is noted that 1,000 feet was to be constructed, so we presume 300 feet has been eroded out, and we see about 5 or 6 of them lying almost horizontally at the upstream end.
So this is going to correct all of that?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Starbuck.
Craig, real quick, go back, I've got a staff report back in 2011 where we were talking about several different options for bank stabilization. you weren't the one that did the staff report at this time, but there was 4 options. One of them was reinforced and vegetation, which was a 50-plus year fix. One was reinforced vegetation, graded slope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is option number 1. It's without the graded slope version.
So this is the reinforced vegetative 50-year plus fix here that we're asking for. If we do away with the northern, can we expand the southern at all? Is there anything we can do, or just go for what we want? This is a no-brainer. We get rid of the north, we fix the south.
Yeah.
But
funding-wise, the project has to have a benefit-cost ratio of 1 or greater, and has to also pass whatever other funding scouring FEMA does. So they've reviewed all our stuff once or twice already, and they'll allow us to adjust things because we're greatly reducing the scope of our project and because a few years have gone by and things like that. I don't see opportunity for huge expansion, but I do see opportunity to make sure that we're covered.
Councilmember Humble?
Yeah, I think what I've listened to and what's been going on, I think the southern portion has to be done. The interesting thing on the northern, since I've lived down in that area, I went across Rucker Crossing, swam horses and cattle, and got stuck in the quicksand. And that's one of the problems at Rucker Crossing is the sand moves the same depth as the water flows above it. So you can't put a bridge in, everybody else wants to. But I think if we can get it done, it is now, because on the northern portion, if you go back over all the land use, then a property line has changed in the river. There's people that own property out in the middle of the river now because their rivers moved them, but it used to be the other way. So if we could protect the southern portion, that is where the homes are, and I think the city over the years have kind of left that northern portion available to no housing and maintain contract. If we say we want both, we may not get either, so that's my problem.
Okay, let me open this up for public comment. Anybody out here want to talk to us about this subject? Don't go very far away, Craig. Going once, going twice, closed. Come on back. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we started out with the part where we lost our 3 acres of parkland, and then we said, and oh, by the way, what else do we need? And we added this other one in, thinking, we just tag it on, and now we're back to not get what we started out with, but at least we're fixing something. And I noted that once we get this, and this is not on the program, we might be able to reapply for the PMGP grant.
Correct, yes. That their first determination of ineligibility for that grant was because we're already in the HMGP. I have a feeling they'll keep looking for other reasons because FEMA seems focused on immediate preservation of life and things like that, but we can always try.
So I think we should ask the city administrator as soon as possible to purchase 5 used trailer homes and park them along the bank and offer them as a homeless shelter, and then we could protect it. Would you think that would help us?
I doubt that that is going to pass muster, sir.
I think you're right. I think that the staff recommendation gets it done, and obviously we're either going to get a little of something or a lot of nothing, and I'm kind of looking for something. Councilmember Starbuck?
Well, since we're throwing out great ideas, why can't we make the river deeper, and that way the banks wouldn't be affected, right? Just take a dozer right down the middle, huh?
That'd be nice.
It should be noted that Councilmember Starbuck also believes in the tooth fairy, and he will drive the dozer, so we just need to find one with the keys left in it. Okay, who would like to move the staff recommendation?
I'll go ahead and move the staff recommendation. I'm glad to.
I'll second.
And is there any further discussion? Seeing none, could we vote, please? That passes 3-0 and 2 absent. Written communications. Anything, Madam Clerk?
Nothing.
And oral communications, your last opportunity to say something to us for 2 minutes. Going once, going twice, gone. Council requests, comments, and meeting reports. from the left.
Mr. Mayor and group, I was very pleased, and we've talked about it, but I was at the Public Safety Training Complex kickoff of Allen Hancock College. It's a fantastic facility. It's out there. Channel 12 had an excellent broadcast. They're talking about one of a kind. There's nothing like it in the western United States, and it also contracts already Oregon and Washington and one other state's already contracted on the oil part of it. So what we have here, and this is the brochure, if you get it, I wish we have a way to tie this in with something the Lompoc can pass out, because there's a lot of good information, and a lot of people don't realize just what's all out there. You still talk to people in town who lived here and been here, and they still don't know what's happening out there. Oh, there's a new building. That's one of them. The other thing I'd like to bring up, the Lompoc Valley Tourism Guide. Very good job. There's some out there. If anybody needs it, you can get a hold of us, and we'll give you some to pass out. And I'm always hustling Lompoc wherever I go. The only other thing I have to talk about, and we hear about water and water, how we've been maintaining water. I think a lot of times people don't know that what we've done in the city of Lompoc on low-flow toilets and other things over the years, and we heard in the mayor's comment a 30% reduction in the use of water. We need to advertise that more, because people don't realize. I talked to a guy today, said, well, what are you going to do in Lompoc? I said, we've been doing it for a long time. We've got low-flow toilets, we've got other things, and we set out pieces. The public doesn't know it, so a lot of times it's our fault. We do it, it does a good job, but we don't let anybody else know about it. Unfortunately, not everybody reads the Lompoc record, so you're going to have to whatever papers are around. But I think we need to let that know, because I talked to 5 different people in the last 2 days that have talked about this, because it's on the news. And how are we going to save water in Lompoc? What's our water issue is? And I think we just need to let everybody know what we have been doing. It's been doing a good job. And I hadn't realized it was 30%, but I do know it was a major percentage of the water being used in the Lompoc and how we utilize it. So it may not be a bad idea to have a column in the paper once in a while of exactly what we've been doing in the past. So at least the general public, some of them may read the paper and understand what's going on. So other than that, and I did have fun judging wine. We only had 5,825 wines from 25 states and 1,700 vineyards 2 weeks ago. And I made it home.
Councilor Starbuddy?
Well, I have no reports. Councilmember Holmdahl got them all.
Over the last couple weeks, it was very busy. I had about 15 different meetings, most of them having to do with economic development. So we have a lot of irons in the fire and some exciting things coming. I attended three events on behalf of the city. The Carousel of Cultures was a lot of fun yesterday, and I was with Councilmember Lingle and Councilmember Holmdahl at the Allen Hancock facility. Also, as part of that, I hosted Elizabeth Haley from the Petroleum Education Council, who is one very smart lady and is helping Hancock maximize the impact of that facility. And she met with the Lompoc Tourism Improvement District president and with another local business that's going to offer a service that would be related to the oil industry training, and left us with some good ideas and a book I haven't read yet on a city down in Texas that is kind of going through the same thing, went through the same thing we're going through. At SB CAG this last Thursday, we had what I would consider the main event, which was some decision making with regard to the next phase of the Highway 101 widening, which got a lot of press in the paper, most of which really didn't focus on the issue. And the issue that was brought up some time ago was that there may have been a faster, cheaper way to do the freeway project, and Caltrans then kind of wound that into, no, we don't want to build a left-hand ramp. But that was only one small component of what was raised, and actually, as a result of the citizen input, the construction schedule for that portion was dramatically changed, and it went from a 4.5-year project to a 2.5-year project. So thanks to the 101 Coalition and the amount of money they spent, they actually hired a traffic design engineer to work on their project. At the end of the day, we came to an agreement on the best path to go forward. SBCAG will be doing the design work for the freeway rather than having Caltrans do it to try to eliminate some of the acrimony that has plagued it. And we voted, I think, 11-2 to move forward, and the two people that voted against it really wanted to move forward. They were just unhappy with the way they were moving forward. But I think the best compromise was reached, and as somebody pointed out, if you have a compromise that nobody's completely happy with, but everybody votes for, you've probably got the best you're going to get. So that's done and going forward. That's all I have to report. Councilor Holmdahl?
Just one thing, talking about that, I don't know if anybody caught all the news, is we got 5 votes against putting the oil tax on the ballot. So 5 supervisors voting together on one thing, that is really strange.
It's pretty different. I should finish up. I didn't travel anything on city expense. However, I am traveling to Sacramento tonight at city expense for a League of Cities meeting in the morning. And thank you all for coming. Have a great evening. We are adjourned to January 28th at 6 p.m. for a joint session with the Planning Commission.